Hey folks, how you doing? I'm Regan Wood, producer from Hit 66 Sound and Screen. Today I'm going to be starting off my very first video review. Used to write old school with my fingers, getting tired, and then I thought, wow, I've got all this expensive camera gear around and I have some editing equipment, so why not do them as video reviews instead of type reviews. So this is it, the very first stitch up. For those of you who know me, you'll know my humour, my sensibilities, and the kind of movies that I dig, so this won't be any new to you. Any new viewers, welcome, welcome, welcome. I'll be gentle. The very first review that I'm going to be doing is for the massive, massive release of Civil War, and very, very fitting as well that 8 years ago on the 3rd of May was the release of the original Iron Man film, which kicked off this whole beautiful renaissance of Marvel films, which is now into its 13th film. I'm just going to be straightforward. I'm a massive comic book fan, but I'm going to try and be non-biased. In this kind of stuff I really dig, but I'll try and give a good, honest review, not worrying about that it's a comic book film and I lose my shit every time one comes out. And also, I'm not biased. I'm not Team Cap and I'm not Team Iron Man. Die! Ah! Okay, so Civil War picks up about a year after Age of Ultron. Captain America is running his B team of Avengers, and unfortunately they cause another catastrophe, or are involved in another catastrophe that kills innocent civilians. So the UN send in Thunderbolt Ross, who previously appeared in the Incredible Hulk movie with Edward Norton. So William Hurt returns with a message from the UN saying the Avengers will no longer be able to function as a private body. They will now be sanctioned only by the UN if and when they see fit. And it splits the team in two, as Captain America doesn't believe that they should be beholden to a government body because government bodies have agendas. Cap doesn't sign the Accords, whereas everybody else does. And Iron Man or Tony Stark, Robert Downey Jr. is constantly fighting that battle to get Captain America in line.
We need to be put in check. Whatever form that takes, I'm game. I'm sorry, Tony.
If I see a situation pointed south, I can't ignore it. Sometimes I wish I could.
Sometimes I want to punch you in your perfect teeth.
He himself is suffering from survivor's guilt over the death of a young boy in Sokovia, and that's sort of where the movie starts off. To reveal any more about the story would be really doing you a disservice, so I'll try not to do that, and I'll keep it spoiler free as well. You're probably looking at this as Avengers 2.5, but it's really not. It's actually a Captain America film. It's half spy movie, half superhero movie. It's basically Hunt for Red October with tights. Probably the best thing about this film, from a performance standpoint, is everybody is given some really, really great development. Robert Downey Jr. is always good, don't get me wrong, he's great, but really the standout would be Chris Evans. He's made this role his own. There are some new characters that you've seen in the trailer. Black Panther, for instance, the King of Wakanda. He comes into it, plays a fairly large role. Of course, you've seen Spider-Man in the latest trailers, popping up at the end there. He plays a significant role as well, and probably has the best intro I've ever seen from a comic book character in a comic book movie. It's just awesome. Why do I have a gun? This is easily the best script that Marvel has ever been working with. Perfectly rounded to each of the characters, and the plot itself is completely succinct. The massive set piece that you would have seen in the trailers at the airport where all the heroes are flying in together about to smash and then the bloody trailer cuts out. Well, in the film, it doesn't cut out. They fight, and it's immense. It's the best 15 minutes of a superhero film you will ever see. It's perfectly executed, it's so smart, it gives everybody a bit to do. Ant-Man's in there for crying out loud, what more could he? And he rides an arrow being shot by Hawkeye. I mean, if that doesn't make you happy, then I don't know what to do with you. I've heard a few people online say, I've read a couple of reviews and heard a few podcasts, and people are saying, almost immediately as soon as the film, was viewable by critics, they were saying that it was the best superhero movie ever made. And in a lot of respects it is, but only because Marvel has earned it over 13 films. I mean, all of these characters are beautifully set up in their own films and in their own right before they got to this point. They've had time to develop, and the relationships are already there and it wouldn't work as a standalone film. It needs to be part of this series. Unlike the other superheroes punching each other in the head movie you would have seen in the last few months, Civil War actually has something to say about politics getting in the way of what is actually just right and wrong. Captain America Civil War is a nearly perfect film, but I do have a couple of qualms. The casting of Chadwick Boseman as the Black Panther has yet to yield any results. He was a little bit flat throughout the entirety of the film. His constant broodingness and what seems to be a fairly put-on African accent and a very, very twitchy eye. These things are a little bit distracting, but I guess we'll see how he fares in his own film. The other problem I had was Spider-Man. Now, don't get me wrong, I love this character. And I certainly love this new take, Marvel Universe take on Spider-Man, and Tom Holland, the young actor playing Spider-Man, Peter Parker, is killing it, but it was just a little bit too CG. Hopefully when they do his solo film, which they do tease a little bit towards the end of Civil War, they'll figure out a way to do things a little bit more practically so as not to take people out of the moment. Despite these small qualms, it is a really, really great film. I do recommend it for comic book fans and non-comic book fans alike. I wouldn't take a first date to this film, especially if they haven't seen the rest of the films, because it's not going to make any sense and you're very unlikely to score.
Sorry, Tony.
You know I wouldn't do this if I had any other choice. But he's my friend. So was I.
Well, that's it, folks. I hope you enjoyed the first Stitch Up. I'm looking forward to doing heaps more of these. So next week I'm headed down to the Astor Theatre to see a double bill of the original Total Recall and the fantastic, fantastic Universal Soldier with Dolph Lundgren and Jean-Claude Van Damme. Just some ridiculous 90s action nonsense. And later on that week I'm going to be reviewing it with my good friend Grant Carter from Channel 31's The Carter Show. Yep. Yes. Anyway, we're going to review those films retrospectively and just see how and if they've aged well. Thanks again for watching. This has been The Stitch Up. I'm Regan Wood. See you later.